Hey, this is Adam with Tech Dive AV Club, and today we're going to be looking at Vegas Pro 22. First, I'd like to talk about what Vegas does in general. This is patches, because if you're coming to this wondering if you're going to buy Vegas, maybe you've never even really used it or heard of it. The quick explanation is it is a video editor. It's been popular and in use for a long time. This video is brought to you by Vegas Creative Software. It's a no-brainer when they ask to work with me on videos like this because I cover Vegas software. I've been covering it for years. I've been using it for 18 years. It's different than other video editors because it uses audio style chaining on effects and everything to give you kind of a live preview of what you're doing. I think it's ideal for people who have small or one-man crews, because instead of some of the other ones that are designed around Hollywood and trickle down to everybody else, where everybody's got these specialized fields they're in, Vegas is designed for you to jump in and do everything you need to do. Audio edits really easily right on the timeline. It's got multi-camera editing abilities. It's got tons of professional titling effects and text effects and transitions and compositing tools, and also has other softwares it works directly with if you want it to get more specialized. These kinds of things are what makes Vegas so powerful. It's like a Swiss Army knife. It can do everything very well. There are certain packages of Vegas' subscription which will essentially give you a perpetual license, which is one of the last video editing softwares to do that. It's professionally powerful, robust in its abilities. It's easy to use even if you're a beginner, and also it's one of the only video editing softwares which utilizes Intel, NVIDIA, and AMD GPU capabilities, and they keep coming out with amazing updates. And today we're going to focus in on the new updates for Vegas Pro 22, and we're going to take a look at how they work.
Now, Vegas has had AI text-to-speech and speech-to-text for a while now, but there's text-based editing, and that's new. So let's go to AI speech-to-text, because we're going to turn my words into text to get started. That gives us something to work with here. So you can select the event you want to work with. We can go with the language you want to go to. We're going to auto detect the language, and we're going to hit analyze. What this is doing is it's processing the audio and turning it into text, and it's matching that text to where it is in time of the video. It can be used for closed captioning. It can also be used for putting titles directly on the video, matching the timeline. But also, now it can be used for just editing the video, getting rid of the words you didn't want to say, or very quickly finding where the part you did say it right actually is. So let's get started. So this is the transcript view, but what we're going to do is we're going to move to the text-based editing view. You can see we got our ums, right? This is every time there's a major pause, and we can edit different factors and stuff like show pauses longer than a second, or we can change that, or show time code, show file name. But right now we're just going to leave everything how it is. All right, so to select what we want to get rid of, every time you click a word, it selects the word. If you want to select more than one word, you just hit shift and scroll, and now we can select a group of words. Here I say, first I'd like to talk about Vegas does in general. Let's watch this back here.
First, I'd like to talk about what Vegas does in general. This is patches.
Let's get rid of the pause, and this is patches. So I'm going to hit shift. This is patches. I'm going to, there we go, I had too much selected there. So by holding shift and selecting the words I want to get rid of, then I'm going to hit the delete key. And there we go. It showed us what we removed. And if we have, I'm going to hit Control Z because I want to show you something even cooler than that. If we have auto ripple enabled, which I have a whole video about auto ripple, got Back to the Future joke and everything, but that will automatically move the whole timeline after we edit it. So it'll kind of auto edit for you for simple things like this. So let's do that again. Let's select the pause, and then this is patches. and then we're going to hit delete. There we go. Now it auto edits that as well. So let's watch it.
First, I'd like to talk about what Vegas does in general. First, I'd like to talk about Vegas.
Now, obviously, this is still a rough cut with lots of me wiping my nose, but that is text-based editing. And you can see how if you've got a large body, let's say you have a 45-minute science explanation, you could isolate all the words you didn't want to say and just be left with the parts you did want to say, and then start your more artful editing process with all the garbage easily isolated and removed. A very fantastic feature that I personally am excited about getting to use. All right, so let's talk about AI sharpening. So I have actually got some footage here, which is a little out of focus. And I did that on purpose. What I did was I pulled the focus to just kind of put in focus the front of my drum set, which is where you can kind of see the hardware and everything's nice and in focus. It has a focus fall off where I'm only kind of in focus. My eyes and hair aren't quite as crisp as I want them to be. Vegas has a lot of different tools for alleviating sharpening issues, alleviating soft focus, and another new awesome one is this AI sharpening. So let's go to Vegas Video Effects. We're going to select AI sharpening, and then we're going to drag and drop it. We're just going to drop it over the whole timeline piece here. So with AI sharpening, it kind of goes ahead and tries to sharpen it, a medium sharpness to 50% amount. What you can do is you can kind of change how aggressive it is. So this fall off is very subtle, and so I don't want this effect to kind of heavily attack everything. So I'm going to go to low. And then also I'm going to change the amount here. And so now you can see this is a much more natural look where we have a slight amount of sharpening where it doesn't really kind of over bevel the video. It just, you can see now more my eye line and my hairline more distinctly, which is what I'm looking for. You can toggle this check mark to see what it looks like without and with, and it certainly kind of increases the contrast. I pop out more from the background, helps me deal with the fall off of the lack of focus much better. One of the very cool features that Vegas has added is AI auto reframe. And what that's going to allow me to do is more quickly create shorts, because that's becoming more and more important for content creators to do. And in case you haven't noticed, nicer cameras aren't in a phone format. So what if I wanted to render this out as a phone format? Well, normally I'd have to like find faces and follow faces and crop this whole thing out to do what I want it to do. Instead, this time I'm just going to find the video clip I want here. Just grab a little bit of me playing the drums, and then I'm going to select it like I normally do to render it out. And then I'm going to go to File, Render As, make sure it's in the project location here. And then we're going to do, you can do the customize template and select what you want. We're just going to go ahead with a pre-done template of portrait mode. And we're actually going to use my graphics card to render it as well. So portrait graphics card, and then we're going to go to render options. And we're going to go to render with AI auto reframe. So now let's rename this drum vid auto reframe. And hit render. Now it might take a bit longer than usual to render because you're doing more than just rendering the video. It's also like editing for you. So let's give it a minute and we'll get back to it. So let's open a new project, and it automatically resized and recentered the frame to focus on the action. So you can see here when I'm playing, you can see my face and most of the action auto cropped in, and I didn't have to do any of the decisions. A simple thing to highlight is the new Getting Started menu. It offers a lot of helpful ways to get started if you're new to video editing and you kind of want to deal less in the technical weeds and more just kind of get a template set up for you. It's also kind of shows you some tutorials to get started, and also it's a great place to go ahead and find kind of things you've recently worked on. You can toggle whether or not you see the startup screen right here or in your options, but let's go ahead and utilize it to open my project. So I've used Vegas Hub to go ahead and find some hazy footage to test their new dehaze. All right, so let's try the AI dehaze. We're going to go to the Video Effects tab and select AI dehaze and drag and drop. So we're given lots of different tools here, and as always, whenever you see a clock by it, it means it can be keyframed and changed from frame to frame, which makes sense because video moves. But for our purposes here, we're just going to try a medium dehaze, and we're going to slide the amount. And you can see this is with no dehazing, and this is with 100% dehazing on the medium. Let's go ahead and swap to high. Let it, if you see the dots, that means Vegas is thinking, and that's pretty intense right there. Wow, that's a big difference. So let's see without tons of haze, which, you know, for this shot you might want, but this is just to illustrate how much it can do if you want it to. And then that's without. You can see the sky better, you can see the trees better, you can see the details behind things better. You still get the glow of the sun, but that's inherent to the shot. That is amazing. This new Vegas Hub tools are much more intuitive. You can favorite it, download it, add it to project media, or just go ahead and insert it on the timeline, saving lots of steps. Very cool. That's with AI smoothing, which is like AI sharpening, but a little different. So what smoothing can do is, in a lower lighting scenario like this one, I actually had to use a lot of gain on my camera, not a ton, but more than I usually like to use. And that introduces noise, artifacts. So a lot of times, especially if you're doing special effects and stuff, you kind of want to clean that up. So let's look at it without the AI smoothing. And you can see that some of the texture comes back on some things, but you can see there's a lot more just grain in the video. So if we add the smoothing back, now again, this is about half smoothing with the medium details, which is very similar to the AI sharpening, but just in reverse. Now for a shot like this, I would actually make this a lot less aggressive. Let's go to low and reduce it. Now with these reduced settings, you can see that there's still much of the texture in the shot that gives it interest, but it really does reduce a lot of the gain artifacts. Now let's take a look at the new beat detection feature. So this is very cool because when you're editing a music video or something, you might want your beats to hit with a downbeat. Now this isn't. Now in a more polished and exact video, you're going to get more every single beat, but this one is going to show us where the accents are. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the trimmer, which is another window where you can highlight video in and cut it into smaller pieces. We're going to grab this piece here. Now this isn't done with a click track. This isn't done with a beat in mind. This isn't a polished, finished video. This is just me recording a friend of mine playing guitar. And let's see what happens if I hit these three little dots here and I hit beat detection. Now you can see here, both on the clip that matches the clip I put into the trimmer on the timeline here, you can see there's a marker specifically on the video event showing every single downbeat. Now this is cool because again, there's not a click track, there's not a tempo. This is just my friend playing. But let's listen, let's give it a listen, and you can see kind of where it's got markers. I grabbed some stock music from the Vegas Hub, and now let's experiment with the new beat finding technique. So let's give it a try. I'm going to right click on the media and I'm going to hit tempo detection. And now you could set the ruler and the beats and a metronome and everything before, but this will do it automatically for you. So the detected tempo is 110 beats per minute. We're just going to go ahead and set the project tempo. We're going to go ahead and let it set the time format to measures in beats. And when we hit activate the metronome, what that's going to do is it's going to turn on a sound file that you can replace to be your own sound file. But it's going to turn that sound file on to play on the beat, which is great if you're mixing or trying to talk or record directly to Vegas. So let's give it a listen. The metronome is spot on. And now you can see that the ruler of the timeline is set to show you every single beat in the song. Vegas has also made it easier to access the ruler format by just going to Options, Ruler Format, and now you can select the kind of thing you want to do, including Set Project Tempo, where it brings you up to the project properties screen where you can manually set tempo things yourself. Another nice improvement that's come with Vegas Pro 22 is that when you now select in blank space and use the left mouse button, you automatically start selecting multiple tracks. So like you use the selection tool. So down here, if you're not familiar, there's different kinds of tools, and you used to have to like select the selection tool, which is this one right here, to be able to kind of do this kind of selection. But instead, you can be on the normal edit tool. But when you're in blank space, you can now just use the tool. And if while you're holding the left mouse click button, you can use the right mouse click button to select different kinds. So whether if you want to select vertically, horizontally, or in this traditional just broad selection box. They've now updated the Explorer to feel more like modern Windows, where you can more easily kind of sort through and figure out where your files are and how you want to add them into your project without having to leave the software. So this is sometimes the preferred way to do it for some editors. Another feature I'm very excited about is multicam editing and auto syncing the audio to match. So if you have something that was recorded at the same time, so they have matching audio, they're not like waveform per waveform matching, but matching as in they were both recording like the same thing in the same room. Then Vegas can auto match the time on that, so you don't have to do the syncing manually. It's had multi-camera for years, but this is a new feature it's adding on top of it. So I've got the primary clip selected, and I'm going to hit Control, and I'm going to select the secondary clip as well. And then I'm going to go to Tools, and I'm going to go to Multi-Camera, and then I'm going to synchronize mixed audio to align events. Give it just a second here. There we go. And right off the bat, you can see the louder parts when I'm playing drums. That's the part that matters. And that, it seems, is synced up. Let's give it a closer look here. Yeah, it looks like every drum beat is lined up. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and turn this one down because I know it's going to be super loud. We'll listen to them at the same time here. Now that these are synced, I can line up my video tracks just by scooting them around here so I can kind of see them all together. The media will stay synced together, but I can now see the video tracks together. I'm going to highlight both video tracks by hitting Control as I select, and now both video tracks are selected. And this feature's been in Vegas a while. Just want to highlight why it's so useful that you can sync these things. Then we're going to create a multi-camera track, and then we're going to highlight this again, and we're going to go to Tools, and we're going to go to Multicam, and we're going to go to Enable Multicam Editing. And so now, as we watch this, we go. Now let's go back to Tools, Multi-Camera, turn the editing off. Now if we watch that clip back, I'm gonna do it. One more for posterity, and then we're done. There we go. So now that audio is perfectly in sync. I didn't have to do any work to do that, and now I've got a multicam edit right there.
Like if this video helped you out, subscribe if you're looking for more videos like this one, and if you would like to support this channel, the best way to do it is to buy or upgrade your Vegas Pro software through the affiliate links below. I'll see you guys next time. Gonna get to editing.